Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's webinar. My name is Michael, and I'll be your host for this morning's session. And I'm also being assisted this morning by my colleague, Regina, who is also here to help me. So I'm going to take you through some steps that you can take to hopefully encourage your clients to make sure that their CCH OneClick account is fully activated. And Regina is here to help me field your questions. So if you want to pose your questions as we go through, please do that in the normal way using the questions panel within the GoToMeeting control. And Regina will be answering your questions directly if she can. If we can't answer your question, we need to take it offline, then we will do that and come back to you with an answer after the end of the webinar. And we should have some time at the end for any general questions and answers as well. So what we're going to cover in today's webinar, here's the slide for you, is two methods that you could take advantage of to encourage your clients who've recently been upgraded to the new Wolters Kluwer account with the additional security and multi-factor authentication. And if they haven't yet fully activated, a couple of things that you can do to encourage that in advance of the 31st of January tax filing deadline, when I'm sure for your personal self-assessment tax clients, you're going to be sending them tax returns to approve. We want to make sure that they're all set up and ready to activate. And so the first method is using the bulk resend option, which we may have already done for some of you, or we may have discussed with you as part of the upgrade process, which is where we can send an email using the same upgrade template to all of your clients that haven't activated. And the second option that we're going to spend a bit more time on in this session is how you can do this for yourselves, take perhaps a more targeted approach by using the mail merge feature from within CCH Central. And to do that, it involves editing some templates, generating your client list, and then using mail merge to send those clients a message. And then also want to show you what your clients will receive so that you have an understanding of the process they will go through depending on their various state of activation. So if we talk about option one, first of all, the bulk resend option, as I said, this is something that we can run for you from this end. And some of the highlights of this process. So this will only email those clients who've not yet set up their Wolters Kluwer account, so the more secure account. So this will be anybody who has effectively not actioned the upgrade email that they were sent when you were upgraded, haven't taken any action at all, because if they click on that initial upgrade link, the first step in the activation process or the upgrade process is that they create themselves a password and enter a captcha code. And once they've done that, their account is actually created. Beyond that, they then need to obviously set up and configure a multi-factor authentication option and then log in to CCH OneClick. But the bulk process will only deal with those clients who haven't completed that first step, which is entering their password, creating their account. It uses the original upgrade email template that you hopefully edited before we did the upgrade for you. And I'll show you in a second just a reminder of what that template is and how you might want to just make a further change to it before considering doing a bulk resend. Once the resend is completed, you will receive an audit file afterwards. So that will list the email addresses of everyone who was sent the reminder email, or the recently upgrade email, and show you their email addresses. You can only get that audit file after we've run the bulk upgrade for you. We can't do that in advance. It's part of the upgrade process. And as I said, that will not contact any clients who've maybe not set up their MFA. So the first step of the process is they create their password, activate their account, and it will include everybody who hasn't done that. Once they've got to that stage, they wouldn't receive this reminder, but of course, we know that some clients may not have successfully completed the multi-factor authentication step of the process. so still might potentially have to do that when they log in to approve their tax return. And if we can get them to do that in advance of the deadline, so much the better. So that category of clients wouldn't be included in this process, but they will be in the one that I'll show you that I'll show you next. If you want to take advantage of the bulk resend process, you just need to request that from us. The step really for you, first of all, is to, as I say, to consider editing the OneClick email template, maybe just to add some additional wording to say that it's a reminder. I'll show you that in a second, as I said. And then you can, if you raise a support case with us and just say in that you're requesting the upgrade email bulk resend, and if you mention in that case that you'll confirm that you have edited your template and state the date that you'd like the upgrade to be run on, then we'll be able to process that for you. The second option then is the mail merge option. And this option involves you creating a message template. That's the message that your clients will receive once they successfully log on. You'll then need to select the appropriate clients from within CCH Central, send them all a message in bulk using the mail merge feature, and this will work with clients in any activation state. So the new message email that they receive as part of doing this will react to their current activation state. If they're fully activated, then they'll simply log on and read the message that you're sending them. If they need to set up their account from scratch, it will take them through the password creation and then the multi-factor authentication setup. Or if they've failed somewhere during that process, it will also react appropriately. So it will take them to the appropriate stage in the process and to enable them to complete that. So let's jump into Central and have a look at some of this in a bit more detail. So I'll just bring up my CCH Central. So the first thing, in the case of the bulk resend, if you want to request us to do that for you, as I said, that uses the upgrade email template within Central, which you can find under File, Maintenance, and then OneClick and the Email Templates tile. If you select the Email Templates tile, and if you click on the email type, you can sort the templates alphabetically. The template we're talking about is the one that's called AAA or AAA Upgrade OneClick Client to AAA User. So this is the one that, as I say, hopefully you've already edited based on our previous advice. I'm just double clicking it to edit the template. And this is the template, my template as it currently stands. And this is me having edited it for the initial upgrade email that we sent out to clients based on, as I say, the advice we've given you in our previous videos, talking about embedding a link to the activation video so that the clients can see that. Now, what we might suggest is if we were going to reuse this template and use it as a method of sending a reminder to the people who haven't yet activated, you might want to consider adding some appropriate wording. So I'm just going to copy some wording that I previously prepared, and what I'm going to do in my example is I'm going to replace this first line here in the template with some slightly different wording, something along the lines of the fact that it is a reminder. So I'm just saying that let me just sort out the template. There we go. We previously emailed you on, and you'll obviously need to change that date to the date of your particular upgrade, where I've got the date in red, to ask you to upgrade your account. According to our records, you don't appear to have done this yet. So in order to allow us to send you some important end of year documentation, we request that you upgrade now. Leave in the link to the demo video and make sure that the activation link is also within the message template. Just to confirm these links, so the link to the activation video, if you want to check that you've got the right link embedded, if you click within the hyperlink somewhere as I've done there, and then under the insert menu, if you click the insert hyperlink, that will show you what the hyperlink is currently pointing to, and that is the Vimeo link to the demo activation video that your clients can watch that will walk them through the process before they attempt it themselves. The second important link is the upgrade link. This needs to be the specific activation link, which is a merge field on the left-hand side. That will be in the template by default. If you haven't edited it, it shouldn't be a problem. If you want to make sure it's the correct link, again, if you click somewhere within the hyperlink and click on the Insert Hyperlink button under the Insert menu on the ribbon bar, what you should see in here is something that looks like this, that simply says activation link in the middle URL in square brackets like that. If yours says anything different, then the safest thing to do would be to remove the existing hyperlink like that within your template, and then at the appropriate point, get your cursor at the appropriate point and simply click the activation link on the merge fields on the side there, so that it reinserts the link. And again, you can then check that that is correct and it's the activation link. If you make those changes, the changes that you want to that upgrade template, and then click OK to save the template, that also saves a copy to the cloud. If you then let us know that you'd like us to rerun the bulk send for you, that will pick up on your amended template and send it out, as I say, to those clients that haven't yet activated at all. What I'm going to talk about now is the second method, where we can perhaps be a bit more selective about the clients that we're going to send, and also do that from within CCH Central itself. And so in this process, the first thing we need to do is we need to prepare a message template. This is a message inside the messaging documents portal that the client will get once they log in, once they successfully log in. The reason we do this is that sending a message through OneClick will use the "you have a new message" email template, and that link will then react to their account status, as I said, and regarding where they are in the process, regarding where they are in the activation process, that link will take them to the appropriate point. So the first thing we would do is go into File, Maintenance, and OneClick, and then go into Message Templates. And what we'll be doing is creating a message template specifically for this purpose. So to add a new template, you simply click into the blank line at the top and type a name for your template, and then in the subject field, this is what the subject of the message will be. Once you've done that and you hit enter, that will add that at this stage empty template to your list. So you can see here that has now added that example bulk template to my list, and I can then double click it to edit it. And the editor of the template works in a very similar way. We can stick in here whatever wording we want to. So we might say dear, and then make use of the merge fields on the right on the left, sorry, to include the client salutation, and then type our appropriate wording, whatever that might be. I've got one so I'll just change that. I've got one that I've prepared in typical Blue Peter fashion, just to save a bit of time. So I've already created one here called Successful Activation Message. I'll just double click that to show you what it says. So I was thinking something along the lines of, because this is the message they will read once they have successfully activated. So it simply says, thank you for successfully setting up the enhanced security multi-factor authentication. You are now ready to be able to log in and approve your tax return when we send this to you in due course. And of course, you can sign that off with the employee first name. That will be the first name of the employee that generates these bulk messages. You can just put a generic tax team sign off, combination of both. That's obviously entirely up to you. So once you've created that message template that they will read, and the wording in here obviously needs to be relevant to clients regardless of their activation status. So if you are going to use this method, you are potentially going to be sending this message to clients who had already activated, but primarily those who hadn't or hadn't completed the process. So that is the first stage, to create yourself a message template. What you then do, the second stage, is to think about how we select our clients. So we use the mail merge feature within Central from within the Find Client screen, where we generate a list of clients, select them with the tick box, and then use the mail merge. So I could just search for my clients. That will give me a combination of those that are and aren't activated for OneClick. And of course, that will also be a combination of personal tax clients and entities, my limited companies, partnerships, and so on. Now, I could manually select those clients I wanted to send this message to, and then I would click the mail merge icon. But what I want to do is perhaps be a bit more selective in the way that we actually select those clients by only selecting my personal tax clients who had a tax return for 2020. And I'm going to do that by first of all creating a report that gives me that information. So I'm going to go into reporting, and I'm going to create a new report to identify my 2020 personal tax clients. So once I'm in reporting, I'm going to start the process by clicking Create Grid on the menu bar at the top. That will allow me to create a grid report, and the fields that I can add to this report are listed on the left-hand side. So starting with the central section at the top, I'm just going to expand the central section, and I'm going to include the name, that is the client name. So I'm just ticking the box next to the field I want to include. Secondly, I want to have the client code, so that's under the client section. If I expand that, I can find client code and add that to the report. And then if I scroll down a little bit further, I've got a section for personal tax. And if I expand the personal tax section and then expand the tax returns section, you'll see there is a field there for tax year. So I'm going to add that to my report. And then finally, because I only want to list those clients who have an activated OneClick account, I'm going to go to the portal section at the bottom. I'm going to expand that, expand the activation section, and then the status is the field I want to also add to the report. So that's my 4 fields on the report that I want. But obviously what I want to now do is I want to filter this, because this is giving me all my clients, regardless of status and so on. So I'm going to use the filter option at the very top here of the report to filter this data. So the first thing I'm going to do when I click the filter is I'm going to add my first filter criteria, which from the 4 fields that I've added to this report, I'm going to start with the status. So this is the OneClick status. And if I choose the drop down, you'll see there are various different statuses that relate to a OneClick account. The one that I'm interested in is activated. So activated in this sense means that I have activated the client or asked the client to activate. So it will include both the categories of activated and pending activation, which is what I want. That's my first criteria. And then my second criteria, which I'm going to add by clicking the green plus button, is I'm going to only look for the tax year equal to 2020, because I only want those clients that I know I'm going to be doing a self-assessment return for by the deadline. If I then click apply to add that criteria to the report, that then is my list of all my personal tax clients with a 2020 tax return. I'm going to save that report by clicking save on the ribbon bar. I'll give it a title of 2020 tax clients activated, and under the report category, I'm just going to save that under the personal tax section and then click OK to save the report. Now that I have saved that report, if I close the report and reporting and go back to my Find Client screen, I'll just clear the search that we did previously. I can now use that report in this Find Client screen to search for clients, and I'll do that by clicking on the new search drop down, and instead of a new search, I'm going to search from reports. So I'm going to choose from reports in the list and then hit the search button. And then I'm going to select the report. The first thing I'm going to do is change it from Smart Reports to From Reporting. And I can search for that report I just created. If I put 2020 in here, I'll be able to find that report, 2020 tax clients activated, select it from the list and then click OK. And that will then show me the report parameters, which I can verify are correct. So status activated tax year 2020, click OK, and that will return that same list of clients in my Find Client screen. So I have a combination of those that are activated and those that are pending activation, but they all have a 2020 tax return. So that's a much more specific and targeted way of returning those clients in this list. I can now select all of those clients using the tick box and then use the mail email merge icon on the top ribbon bar. And then in the mail merge wizard, choose the output selection of publish to CCH OneClick. I click next on the wizard and I now need to choose that template that I just created. So the successful activation message, this is the message that all of those ticked clients are going to receive. Click next. I can then next through the next 2 steps of the wizard, 3 steps of the wizard until I get to the selection screen. And this will then show me all of those clients and the email addresses that are about to receive an email. And you can see all the different email addresses here. Again, I can select all of them. I can deselect some if I don't want to include them in this particular run. So I have control at individual client level at this stage. So I've got those 20 odd there. Then click next and then finish. And the system will now run through and send each of them a message. So they will each get that message sent to them through OneClick, that successful activation message. And as a result of that, they will also get the initial notification, which is the email that says you have a new message from your accountant. Click here to log in. And it's that link in that email that will then allow them to complete the activation of their account. So we'll just wait for that to finish, and then I will show you the results of that from the client perspective. Hopefully it won't take too long. There we go. So that has now completed. If I were to go and look at one of those particular clients and go to their message center, we should be able to see the message in the message center for that particular client having been successfully sent. Okay, we'll try that in a second. Let's go and have a look at the emails that the client will have received. So the first, I've got 3 clients with different statuses here. So in my client list, I'm going to be looking at person A, person B, and person C. As you can see, person A has a green tick. Sorry, let me just clear and research that. So person A has a green tick because they're fully activated. Person B and person C both have a gray icon. Person B has created their account but hasn't set up their MFA, and person C hasn't done anything at all yet with regard to the upgrade. So let's have a look, first of all, at person A's inbox. And this is what they received. There is a new message for you from Accountants R Us. Please click this link to log in and view the message. So this person is fully activated. If they click the link, it will take them to the login screen. They can enter their email address. Just need to remind myself of what that was, tpa.wk. Enter their password and log in. And in this case, because they are fully activated, it will go straight to the MFA screen. And they just need to enter the MFA code from their authentication app, because that's the method that they have set up. So I'll just enter that code from my authenticator app, click continue, and that particular client will be logged straight into CCH OneClick, where they'll be able to read that message that we've just sent them. So there we go, into OneClick, and messages and documents, there's one unread message. So let's log out as that particular individual and now look at person B. So this is the person who hadn't set up their so they'd activated their account but not set up their multi-factor authentication, they get the same message. Again, if they click the link to log in and view the message, they will get the login screen. Just need to make sure I logged out of the last one. This too. No, I didn't. Let me just, logging in and out as the same client in the same browser will sometimes cause problems. Obviously, that's not something clients would ordinarily do. So let me just make sure I successfully log out of the first client A. That's better. And we'll log in as the second person this time. So they click on the link, they get the login page. And then when they log in, because their account is active, but they haven't set up multi-factor authentication, that's what they will be prompted to do. So you're required to protect your account. They will then go through the setup now and set up their chosen multi-factor authentication method. So let's set up SMS. I'll just stick my mobile number in, and I should then receive a code to verify that that is the correct number that I have entered, which I will do. Your client should then save their recovery codes. Does that give them a backup if they need to log in and don't have their MFA method available? And then click Finish to complete the process. And that will then take them to the login to OneClick and send them an activation code. And if they click Continue, they will then be logged into OneClick for the first time. So they've completed their activation process now, and they'll be able to log in and read that message we've just sent them. And finally, sorry, just because it's the first time they get some help, so let me just log out as that person. Close the browser, go back to the inbox and just look at the third person. This is the person who has not done anything at all with the initial upgrade. They've ignored it. So in this case, when they get the same email, there is a new message for you, and they click the link to view the message. Because the account hasn't been activated at all, they will first of all get the account setup screen. So this is where they need to then create their password, enter the captcha code, and click Continue, and then set up their multi-factor authentication, and then they will be able to log in and read the message as well. So hopefully you can see that regardless of the status of the client, that same message template will work and get the clients through the process and activated and logged all the way in. I'll just complete the process and take you all the way into messages and documents so that you can see the message. I'm just going into messages and documents now. Go into the messages, and that is the message that we sent them. So thank you for activating your account. The same message that all three clients will ultimately read when they log in to their account. And that's the process. So you will, I know we went through that sort of fairly slickly, but you will get a copy of this recording afterwards, so you'll be able to follow those steps again. But in summary, you need to create yourself a message template in File Maintenance, OneClick, and File Maintenance, OneClick, and Message Templates, and then select your clients by building a report and then using the email merge to send them all the same message. Okay, let me just go back to my slide deck. I think Regina's answered all the questions we've had. Don't know if there are any other outstanding questions that we haven't answered. Doesn't appear so. If you do have any questions that occur to you afterwards, obviously feel free to contact us. Make sure that you can do that by raising a support case. You can also send us an email. Let me just give you my contact details again. If you'd like anything that we've been through explaining, then we'd be happy to do that for you. But I hope you'll find that process useful as part of this process to encourage your clients to make sure they're activated.
Michael.
Yes, Regina. Hello.
Hello. We have one just coming through, one question.
Yes.
Should I read it for you? Is there any way?
Right. So I see the question from Lydia. Yes, question from Lydia.
Yep.
Is there a way of having a list of clients who will receive the email from the first option? No, there isn't. Not in advance, I'm afraid, because the tool that we have to do that, we can investigate the status of your clients individually on a case-by-case basis. So if you have a particular query with a client, you give us their email address, we can tell you where they are within the process. But we don't have the ability to do that on a bulk basis. But as I say, if we do run the upgrade, it will only send it to those at the very early stage that we know have ignored the initial upgrade email, and it will give them a nudge to upgrade again. Once we've run that process, you will then get a list of those clients and their email addresses as part of the process. I see Siobhan has also raised a question. To see it would be helpful if you could see the client's MFA status. Yes, it's an interesting point, and I do accept what you say, Siobhan. The MFA details that your clients create is actually, from a GDPR perspective, personal information to them. So, for example, they may choose to set up their multi-factor authentication using an email address or a phone number that isn't necessarily one that you're aware of. It can be a different set of data, and we don't have a way of surfacing that because it is personal information to them. I suppose what we're saying in this process is if you send them a message through OneClick, as we just did, then if they click on that link, it will take them through the appropriate state of where they are in the process. Now, if they click the email link and they get a login screen where it's asking them to enter their email address and password, then that will be their email address and the password that they created as part of their initial upgrade. If they can't remember the password at that stage, they can use the recover password option. And then it will guide them through the MFA process. If they've configured their MFA, then after they enter their email address and password, it will come up with a message telling them or asking them to input the code. So we know at that stage that they have set up their multi-factor authentication. So actually sending the messages I've just shown you through OneClick is quite a useful way of dealing with clients, whatever state they're currently in. I hope that, I know it's not a perfect answer, but I hope that answers your question as well as I can. If you don't have any further questions, thank you very much for your attendance this morning, and feel free to drop off the webinar. Regina and I will stay here for a couple more minutes just in case any other questions come through, but otherwise, thank you very much for attending this morning, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina, for your assistance.